snaps his foot, and he winces in pain. Fuck! I fucking hate my life! This is the one fucking escape I get, and it's shit! And McGregor's just limping around like my fucking man! Fuck!
Here we go.
All right, we're underway.
Like a missile.
Oh, throws a kick, slips.
And slipped.
Throws
Oh, and
another
he slipped again.
His legs gone. I fucking told you his legs was gone.
Max landing big shots.
Oh my God.
McGregor flat on his back. He throws an up kick, slipped twice. Wow.
What was that?
Max lands a couple shots. McGregor throws an up kick. What is going on?
That's a bad start.
Max back up to Conor back up to his feet.
He looks very sluggish here, McGregor, with the left hand.
Well, that is a disastrous start for Conor.
Oh
my God!
Like
his leg's gone.
The leg's
gone.
What? What is happening?
His leg's gone.
Oh my gosh.
Guys.
He looked like he was injured on the way out. That was what I was saying.
Something is wrong.
Max landing.
Just see when he was in that check-in area and he was moving his leg about, I was like, there's something wrong here.
No, this is
McGregor working his way back up.
This is uncomfortable.
Slowly.
Max is like, look at his fucking leg, man.
His leg is gone.
Max doesn't even want to fight him.
Conor looks at, glances, and now it's right.
The
And they
fight
call the
is
fight.
over.
Are you kidding me?
The fight is fucking over.
man.
A minute 6 in, McGregor had to have been injured entering the fight.
An absolute nightmare.
That's that.
An absolute disaster. Was it the knee or the leg?
It's his knee.
Something buckled. Oh my God.
What
and
the
he's
fuck
crying.
just happened?
He's crying.
Did he injure himself when he was throwing the kicks? Right off rib?
That's the end of that.
Holy
body's not holding
shit.
up.
An
That's terrible.
absolute shock.
He can. I don't think he can ever fight again.
Threw the kick,
No.
and something happened.
With where he's at with his body.
Slipped. Oh, he can hardly stand. He can't even stand. Holy fuck, it's the right knee. It's not the leg, it's the knee. Very underwhelming. And Max is going to be all class in this moment. He is not going to... It's the knee.
He didn't even want to fight him. He didn't even want to finish the fight.
He's taking off the gloves, by the way. Oh, and then he stopped. We're rewatching the replay, and this is...
No way. No way.
Why? Why did you do
way.
that?
It happened in real time.
Why did you do that?
He injured it on that first kick that he threw.
This is what I've been saying for 5 years is about his body, lads. It's the signs have been there, unfortunately.
But why did he do that? Why?
Because
did
he said
do
he was
that?
going to come out like a missile.
I thought he came in injured. That happened off that first kick.
Why
over.
would he come in injured, though? Everybody's saying he has no reason to fight. Why is he fighting if he's injured? His leg, Max is saying.
I mean, Max is just looking at him like, don't make me... He's begging the ref to stop the fight.
I cannot fucking believe what we just...
Why does he keep dropping to it? This is the third time he threw a punch or kick and is on his knees and back. It's got it. It's the third time he's done it in the last 30 seconds. Oh, no. Fuck.
He tore his shit throwing that stupid ass kick.
You think that's when he went into this fight with a broken knee, or like he tore it just?
He broke his leg fighting Dustin Poirier like 6 years ago.
That's why he stopped fighting.
69 seconds. That's how long it took for Conor McGregor's 5-year comeback to end at UFC 329, and the way it ended has left the entire combat sports world in stunned disbelief. Max Holloway defeated McGregor by TKO at 1:09 of round 1 on Saturday night at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, but the finish had nothing to do with striking or grappling dominance. McGregor threw a leaping kick in the opening seconds of the fight, and his knee gave out on landing. He tried to continue, slipping to the canvas twice more as Holloway pressed forward, before referee Mike Beltran finally stepped in and waved the fight off. McGregor left the octagon under his own power, but was visibly limping, and the broadcast confirmed shortly after that he'd suffered a knee injury. If that sequence sounds eerily familiar, it should. 13 years earlier, in these same two men's first meeting in Boston, McGregor tore his ACL mid-fight and still managed to win a unanimous decision. This time, the outcome flipped entirely. The knee gave out on the very first strike of the fight before McGregor had a chance to establish anything, and the bout was over before most fans watching at home had even settled into their seats. Holloway, to his credit, handled the moment with more grace than the circumstances probably called for. Speaking to a booing T-Mobile Arena crowd immediately after the stoppage, he shifted the tone entirely. "Let's give it up for Conor McGregor, guys," Holloway said. "What an absolute animal. When we were in here, I was trying to call the fight off and he kept asking to fight on." He went on to reveal that he'd actually asked the referee to consider stopping things once he sensed something was wrong, rather than pressing the finish the moment he saw McGregor struggling. That's a detail worth sitting with. In the middle of the biggest fight of his career, with real revenge on the line after McGregor beat him back in 2013, Holloway's first instinct was concern for his opponent's safety rather than closing the show. Holloway didn't stop there either, floating the idea of a trilogy fight before the arena had even finished processing what happened. "But you guys are lucky, because there's going to be a Holloway versus McGregor 3 now," he said. "Let's get this money, boys." Whether that actually happens is a different question entirely, one that depends almost completely on what today's medical evaluation reveals about the extent of McGregor's injury and, more fundamentally, on whether McGregor even wants to attempt a third comeback after two catastrophic leg injuries against two different opponents just years apart. That's the uncomfortable question hovering over everything right now, and it's the one dominating early reaction across the combat sports world this morning. McGregor is 37 years old. This marks his third straight loss dating back to 2018, and he still hasn't recorded a win since knocking out Donald Cerrone back in January of 2020. The injury itself, described by multiple outlets covering the event live as an apparent blown-out knee, adds to an already difficult recent stretch for McGregor outside the cage as well, including a civil court finding against him in Ireland in late 2024. Piece all of that together, and you start to understand why so much of the immediate conversation isn't about what comes next for McGregor competitively, but whether there's a next fight in him at all. It's worth remembering just how much buildup led into this moment. McGregor's comeback had been one of the defining storylines in MMA for nearly 5 years, ever since his leg snapped against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 back in July of 2021. That fight alone generated the highest grossing gate in UFC history heading into Saturday night, according to UFC CEO Dana White, with resale tickets reportedly climbing as high as $88,000 for a single seat. Fans who spent that kind of money, who cleared their schedules and gathered around screens worldwide anticipating a career-defining moment, watched it end in under 70 seconds, on a single leaping kick that never should have decided anything this significant. The broader night made the anticlimactic finish even harder to process. UFC 329 had delivered one of the most action-packed cards of the year up to that point, with 7 of the 9 preliminary bouts ending inside the distance and the main card continuing that pace. Paddy Pimblett needed only 52 seconds to submit Benoit Saint-Denis with a Darce choke in the co-main event, in what many are already calling the best performance of his career. Brandon Royval and Lonair Kavanagh delivered 15 minutes of back-and-forth chaos that had the crowd roaring well before the main event walkouts even began. Robert Whittaker made a successful move up to light heavyweight with a third-round finish, and Gable Steveson picked up a first-round knockout in his promotional debut. By the time McGregor and Holloway made their walks, T-Mobile Arena had already witnessed one of the best undercards in recent UFC history, which made the sudden, injury-shortened main event feel even more jarring by comparison. There's also the matter of the road McGregor took just to get back to this point. His originally scheduled comeback against Michael Chandler collapsed in 2024 after McGregor suffered a broken toe in training. This fight against Holloway had been treated by nearly everyone as his real, final opportunity to prove the 5-year absence hadn't erased what once made him one of the most feared strikers in UFC history. Instead, the absence proved to be exactly what skeptics feared it would be, not because Holloway's volume or durability broke him down over 25 minutes, the way most pre-fight analysis predicted, but because his body simply couldn't hold up through the opening exchanges of live competition after so many years away from it. That distinction actually matters a lot for how this result should be read. Nearly every expert prediction heading into Saturday night centered on questions of cardio, ring rust, and whether McGregor's reflexes could survive a longer fight against Holloway's relentless pace. Betting markets had Holloway favored in the range of -210 to -225, with McGregor priced as a moderate underdog around +175 to +185. Nobody was pricing in a first-strike knee injury deciding the entire fight before either man's actual skill set ever came into play. In some ways, that makes this outcome even harder to process than a clean, decisive loss would have been. There's no real answer here about whether McGregor's power or Holloway's volume would have won out. The one variable almost nobody built into their prediction, McGregor's physical durability under the sudden torque of his own explosive movement, turned out to be the deciding factor instead. The historical echo of this result is going to be a huge part of the conversation in the coming days, and it deserves real attention rather than just being treated as an ironic coincidence. In their first fight back in 2013, McGregor tore his ACL and fought through it to win a decision, a moment that's been retold for over a decade as evidence of his toughness and killer instinct. This time, in the same matchup 13 years later, the same body part on the same leg gave out in almost identical fashion, except now it ended the fight before it could even begin. Whatever you make of that parallel, it's hard not to see it as a genuinely strange full-circle moment in a rivalry that started when both men were still years away from becoming two of the biggest stars the sport has ever produced. For Holloway, this result is complicated in its own way. He came into Saturday night looking to avenge that 2013 decision loss and finally settle the score after over a decade. Instead, he gets the win on the record books without ever really finding out how the actual stylistic matchup would have played out. Holloway, to his credit, seemed to understand that complexity in real time, which is likely why his own comments afterward leaned more toward praise and a call for a trilogy than pure celebration. A win by injury TKO, especially one that ends this fast, isn't the kind of statement resume-building performance most fighters actively campaign for, even against a name as massive as McGregor's. So where does this actually leave things? McGregor's immediate medical evaluation over the coming days will determine the severity of the injury, and that alone will shape almost every conversation about his future. If it's serious, and early signs from how he moved leaving the octagon suggest it well could be, questions about whether this is truly the end of his fighting career are not going to fade quickly. If it's less severe than it looked in the moment, a third comeback attempt, however unlikely that might currently feel, hasn't been definitively ruled out by anyone connected to this fight, including Holloway himself. There's also the financial and business reality sitting underneath all of this. McGregor reportedly has 2 fights remaining on his current UFC contract, and there had already been speculation about him trying to fight out that deal quickly before pivoting toward boxing or bare-knuckle events. A serious injury complicates that entire timeline in ways that go well beyond just this one result. Every future negotiation, every potential crossover event, every conversation about his next move now runs through whatever this recovery process actually looks like, and that's a very different starting point than the one everyone expected heading into Saturday night. What's certain right now is that a fight nearly 5 years in the making, one that generated the biggest live gate in UFC history and pulled in casual sports fans well beyond the usual MMA audience, ended in a way nobody predicted and almost nobody wanted. Not a decisive statement for Holloway, not a redemption story for McGregor. Just 69 seconds, a knee that gave out on the very first strike, and a legacy conversation that's now more complicated than it was 24 hours ago. What's your read on this? Is McGregor's career over after this injury, or do you think we see a third comeback attempt down the road? This is a fighter who's already defied expectations by getting through camp healthy and making it to fight night once, after his previous comeback attempt collapsed years earlier over a broken toe. Whether he has one more attempt left in him after this is a genuinely open question, and it's one the entire sport is going to be discussing for a long time. Drop your take in the comments and subscribe for continuing coverage as more details on McGregor's injury and his future come out.